Hello and welcome to ScandiPWA Merchant Sessions. It's the 5th of March, 5 p.m., 3 p.m. GMT. And today's session we'll dedicate to answering questions we have received so far in our question form. But before that, a very positive announcement. Yesterday we had agency sessions and shared that we place a dedicated person to help our partners free of charge with any ScandiPWA questions they have. Local installation, remote server installation, extending functionality, customizing, or configuration. We want to help our partners to get up to speed with this amazing product. And we couldn't skip this slide in merchant session. So another yes, we will have a person you probably know or at least have heard her voice in how-to videos, Liana. She knows the platform inside out. She has been QAing it extensively and creating how-to guides on the features, Magento features that ScandiPWA support. So how to get help from Liana, right? Currently it's very simple. It's just hello@scandipwa.com. Just write your question and we will place you in a chat or screen sharing where you will get instant help free of charge. Note, however, that we can only help you on high-level questions, configuration questions. For installation, customization, extending, data migration, you need to find a partner among extensive list of partners on ScandiPWA.com. If you are in doubt, also write to hello@scandipwa.com asking about a suggested partner. Well, I believe you either have your own development team who can easily learn ScandiPWA, or you have an existing agency partner and you can point them towards ScandiPWA, especially if nowadays they will have an instant help from a dedicated person for agencies who also helps with technicalities. For merchants, we are happy to have with the high-level consultants and configuration advice, and as well as finding a partner or helping your existing agency or team get hands-on with ScandiPWA. Well, for questions, we have 5 pages of them. Not so much, so I think we'll just run it within 10 minutes. So can I get an extension installed without waiting for the extension marketplace? Just a little bit of context. In March, latest April, we plan to open ScandiPWA extension marketplace because we already have a lot of functionalities that are great to isolate as an extensions, because we have to support the product and extensions should be supported separately. So currently there are no installable extensions as such. There are some code packages that your team can set up. We will work on making sure that extensions can be installed with one click. But currently, at least for the coming, I would say 6 to 9 months, we plan that there is a very minor development involvement to register certain packages in one file. So it might be like whatever, 15 to 30 minutes job to add a supported extension. I got free demo PWA site but can't figure out how to customize it. There are limited customization options in the backend where you can customize colors. You can set primary and secondary colors for buttons, links, borders, icons. Everything in ScandiPWA is either SVG or, well, rather CSS elements. So you don't need to upload any graphics. It all changes with variables. If you want a deeper level of customization, first of all, you need a React developer to customize layouts. And if your customization involves different behavior of features or new features, then you also have to make sure that you have an appropriate coverage in the Magento backend and database, as well as new GraphQL resolvers to transport this data from frontend to backend and back. So in short, watch one of the how-tos. So just open PWA user wiki, ScandiPWA.com, and in the main menu you have user guide, and then see one of the main categories that tells customization, and then you will see a video where Liana is changing colors, and this feature works across different websites and store views. So some of your websites can be like black and white, and other colorful, reddish, yellowish, or whatever your brand guidelines are setting as a requirement. I heard PayPal, Braintree, Klarna, Stripe are available by default, but I don't see them in the backend. Well, as such, if you don't see them in the backend, it means that there is something not completed on the kind of traditional Magento side. PayPal, Braintree, they're available out of the box. Klarna, Stripe, you need to make sure that these extensions are set up, or that our current repository, that these are correctly included there. As such, but it's a good question, because it sets us to understand better what ScandiPWA is. Think about Magento in terms of its front end, where user interacts with the store. Then there is a backend where all the features, where you can set custom pricing, add products, add some filters, create attributes, and then whatever you do there shows on the front end. And then there is a database. So what we have done in ScandiPWA, we have removed traditional Magento front end and rewritten it from scratch in React in order to give it speed and modern user experience tools. So all the interactions, animations are more fluid, more like native apps like. But we didn't touch backend. We didn't touch database. It's pretty much the same Magento, just with a new front end that is based on a modern tech stack. So if something is not working in the backend, then it's, how to say, it's related to ScandiPWA, because then probably ScandiPWA will not display, will not render this element on the front end. But you need to start from the backend side of it. So to see if this extension is installed at all, or is it correctly installed. I don't want to use the default template. Do you have other templates? Can I hire somewhere to make it? Well, default template is actually optimized for conversions. It follows best practices from Google and is built on, I think, few years of our conversion rate optimization team experience in heat map analysis, A/B testing, focus groups, Google Analytics research. We have several customers who are with us for 3 years, so they have been evolving their conversion rates, their user engagement, decreasing their bounce rates with us for several years, and this team has amassed a lot of experience that they invested into this default template. But if you want to have another template, you can indeed hire someone to make it. So you can just create the designs. We suggest these designs to follow the layout approximately that we currently have at ScandiPWA, but you can create whatever design, and then there's someone, agency or developer, who knows React and ScandiPWA preferably, and ideally Magento as well, to make sure that all the ends are met. So ideal ways to look for somebody among our partners. And then they just customize it. And they don't need to write a lot of things from scratch, because all the features, all the rendering is already there, so they just modify it. Do we have other templates? Not yet. We are not planning in the near future to create and support several themes, while we see that community is eager. Some theme developers, extension providers are eager to create their own theme. For example, one product theme where the store is just selling one product. Let's see what's next. What's the recommended server requirements for ScandiPWA to work fast? As such, ScandiPWA work fast not because of the server itself, it's because on the technology. Instead of sending the entire page, now we just send the data, and within the first like a second, ScandiPWA sends entire layout system to the user device, and then we just inject data there, and bam, beautiful page is rendered on the device or on the desktop. So for the server, it's the same as Magento, because the heaviest part is indexing, reindexing, partial index, product import, product update, people working in the backend simultaneously. It is the same. If you have your store running currently and you are happy with its server setup, the same setup should be kept for ScandiPWA. Chances are ScandiPWA will make your hosting bill less, because our caching system makes your users hit cache that is served without triggering PHP and MySQL database, so all these like expensive tools, just varnish cache. And then whenever something changes in your store, this cache is updated, but only once. And then it is served till another update or till time to life expires. So chances are you might need a bit less hungry server requirements, server setup, but as a baseline, we suggest to keep the same server requirements as you currently have for your Magento store. How can I know that required extension will be supported? So probably you have some extension in mind and you're like, okay, I'm going to go with ScandiPWA, so what about this extension? Well, you can just email us and ask, is this particular extension on our roadmap, or is this extension provider is our partner and this extension is on their roadmap? But actually we'll answer it a bit later, but if you have an extension, you can request a proposal from ScandiPWA partners in terms of how much will it cost to integrate it in ScandiPWA. Truth is that you don't need to rewrite this extension. For example, it was pretty heavy to migrate extensions that have been working from Magento 1 to Magento 2. ScandiPWA is it's substantially different. You do not need to change anything in your extensions that concerns backend and database. Only front-end layer needs to be updated from kind of old school thing to React and Redux. That's it. Some extension providers are already supporting GraphQL. If not, then either we need to use some of the existing, and Magento has a lot of them, and they're coming more and more GraphQL resolver. So it's an API node. So GraphQL is called like API on steroids. So this extension either needs just to rewrite a small part of it that is a front end, or possibly it needs to connect to some GraphQL endpoints, to some API endpoints, or create these endpoints themselves if it's completely custom things. For example, if it's a reward point extension for community version, then tables where this data is stored for each customer, expiration and so on. The heavy lifting does not need to be done. It's already there. You just need to make sure all these cool things are rendered on the front end. A little bit of React and possibly a bit of GraphQL. To rephrase it in numbers, we have seen partners quoting such extension migrations to be few $100s. Few hundred, $300-400 to make sure that extensions that you need will work in your ScandiPWA store. Can I request a pre-installed ScandiPWA site on my server as one-time service? Yes, you can. We have a standard price. I think currently it's $199. on a compatible server. Of course, if a server is not compatible, we tell you, we can help to make it compatible if we have sufficient access, or your hosting provider can set up something. But if you are running Magento there currently with Varnish and Redis, and that's like a requirement for modern Magento setup, and you have some kind of, well, it's a bit technical. If you have it, chances are we can set it up for you for 199. And the best news is that in about a month, we want to make this question redundant because we will set up it for free, but on our server. But it will feature Magento open source, ScandiPWA open source, set up together in a hosting environment specially optimized for Magento, progressive web apps, eCommerce, as such, scalable environment in AWS, Amazon Web Services. Plus, you have full access and full control of these instances, just like on your server. Well, essentially, the server is yours, and it's not only a server. We place all the code from which this Magento and ScandiPWA theme are built in your repository and connected with a store running in your kind of cloud instance. So your team can customize it, they can change React layouts, and then auto deploy will put it upwards in the cloud. So in about a month, with a kind of click of one button, you get a GitHub repository with all the source code of Magento open source and ScandiPWA together, and a place and server where they are running in a container, and auto deploy script that lets your team or your agents, well, yourself, if you're familiar with Magento and React, to make the changes directly in the code and see these changes deployed on server. But this will be announced a bit. I mean, more details will come later. The pricing generally will be what you spend at Amazon plus 20-25% maintenance fee and a minimum charge, like a flat fee of between $100 and $200. Can you please create tutorials on how to customize ScandiPWA using ReactJS, changing top menu? Yes, we'll do this. Currently, we don't have burger menu as such. We have tab menu in footer. So, but still, we will describe what we still have. Of course, burger menu for desktop, for example. We will describe menu customization, changing layouts. Homepage, PDP, PLP. Well, as such, homepage layout is managed from layout is managed by React, but content is very flexible. You can put there blocks, banners, sliders, widget with recent new projects with some category like bestsellers or on sale products, and just a CMS page. That eventually will be your homepage. So it's very flexible. Generally, there are very little kind of layouting on homepage. Just the same style for product list, like on category page, for example. Adding custom ReactJS components, yes, in progress. We'll do and publish within a week or two. Integrating custom ReactJS components with Magento GraphQL. So Magento has some GraphQL, and you want to build something for it. So how to make it? Yeah, we'll do this. And this is my favorite, adding front-end ReactJS components for existing Magento modules or extensions. So for example, modules or extensions. So you have an extension that you are using, and Magento supports the data exchange on a GraphQL level. So what about ReactJS? I need to create a component, container, Redux, and this tutorial will be extremely helpful, especially for extension developers and merchants who already have their teams and base their stores on some extensions. How to migrate order, customer, and product data to ScandiPWA from my Magento 1 store? Well, as such, ScandiPWA does not have any product data or customer order data. All this has your Magento 2. ScandiPWA is just a front end for this data to be served very fast in a conversion-minded user experience theme. So it's a standard procedure. Good news that in the ScandiPWA cloud I mentioned, we plan to have a card-to-card tool integrated with free demo that can migrate the orders, customers, products, attributes for Magento 1 merchants. If it's small merchants, about $69. If you're large, maybe a few hundreds. But we believe it will be really useful for Magento community to have this out-of-the-box data migration to a new fresh environment, serving this data in PWA fashion, like achieving this amazing performance, UX, and eventually conversion rates on the mobile. My store has custom code in it. How to migrate it? To migrate the code is a bit more steps than migrating data. The general answer is that you need to figure out what this custom code is doing. Maybe you can use extension for this, and this extension will be supported by ScandiPWA, or the same guys who wrote this custom code need to migrate this code but rewrite it in React. Well, migrating to Magento 2, you would need anyway write this code. And in our case, you still need to write it according to Magento 2 for the features to be compatible with Magento 2 database backend. But the front end, now, it's a React. So you don't need to learn Magento 2 front end. Notation, structure, containers, and so on. Instead, it's a pure React Redux. So this custom code needs to be ported to Magento 2, and front-end component of it should be written in React. Then it will nicely function in ScandiPWA. Is there a way to bulk upload products in ScandiPWA? Well, it's the same as in Magento 2. Whatever works in Magento 2 generally works in ScandiPWA. Such things as product upload, of course, you upload them, and these products appear in ScandiPWA. If you have your crons that make reindex running, then the cache will be invalidated, and these new products will appear on your frontend. Do you understand correctly that there are no ScandiPWA settings in Magento backend, so it's completely detached? Well, generally, yes. In themes, you choose ScandiPWA because you can have also old theme and then you switch to ScandiPWA. And the only thing in Magento backend that is about ScandiPWA is a color change and placing some of the static blocks in the theme, in the footer and in the card. But as such, it's just like less than whatever 0.1% of all the Magento features. It's just a minor thing. As such, it's detached. It's the detached front end. Can I install ScandiPWA extensions in Wizard? So Magento has this nice extension Wizard. Currently, Wizard doesn't support ScandiPWA extensions. In the future, but as I said, it's not coming faster than like half a year. Extensions will need at least half an hour of effort. Compatible extensions to be installed. We plan to have a support chat at ScandiPWA Cloud to be available for merchants. And currently we can service this chat ourselves, but later we plan to connect there our qualifying partners who have, a good track record of development on ScandiPWA, appropriate certification, and track of contribution to the community. Now I need to migrate to Magento 2 from Magento 1, update design, and go PWA. So probably that's a question that a lot of things need to be done. Well, if you are on Magento 1 and plan to migrate to Magento 2, of course you can keep the same design. So your first investment would be to migrate data to Magento 2 and then recreate this design. I mean, you already have it in HTML, but Magento 2 has different layout structures than Magento 1, so you cannot really copy paste them or transfer them. So you have to spend pretty much the same time to migrate this design as to create new design. So probably updating design, well, it's an additional effort to create it, but at least there will be not much change if you introduce your old design on Magento 2 or new design on Magento 2. And about PWA, the cost of introduction of new design of Magento 2 and new design on ScandiPWA is approximately the same if you have a team who is enough literate in React. Because after all, that's just two different, ways how to code your design, mutually exclusive ways. And if you do it actually step by step, well, you first spend budget on migrating your existing design to Magento 2. Then you want to update it. Then you pretty much spend the same amount updating the design. And then if you want to go ScandiPWA or PWA in general, then you again need to take this design and recreate it in React or any other PWA solution. So you either would do it 3 times or you can do it once if you couple together migration to Magento 2, creation of new design, and migration to PWA. 3 things. I don't have 3 kinds. 3 things. 3 things. Migration to Magento 2, new designs, and PWA. All of these 3 things can cost you only once, or you can make it triple. How about bundled products and custom options? That's the same as agencies asking. So these are in the works currently, custom options. We start with simple ones because Magento has also calendars, and then you can set up these calendars for different regions and so on. We actually develop our kind of mother company. They develop several projects where they working with some outfits extension and integrate custom options. So we'll see on the example how to make it kind of right. So bundle products and custom options, they are coming, but I think it's like rather Q2. Do you have certified ScandiPWA developers? There is no such thing as certified ScandiPWA developers, but we are working on this, and I think in a few months we'll have a directory of certified ScandiPWA developers for you to choose developer who has validated his or her knowledge and skill in taking the maximum out of ScandiPWA. Where can I follow ScandiPWA feature updates? The easiest way, well, of course, our newsletter is telling you every week what's happening, but if you want just exactly features or bug fixing, then you just follow the link, GitHub, or you go to ScandiPWA.com, then you go for developers, open repository, base theme releases, and then there is an option to watch this repository, and then we do releases every few weeks. So whenever there is new one, you get the entire contents to your email. Or you can just open this URL once in a while to see what's new and see the whole long history of the releases. How do I upgrade my store later with new ScandiPWA? Yes, ScandiPWA has new versions, and we plan to make a major version like once in a year. From the very beginning, ScandiPWA was made having an upgrade path in mind because we have been working with Magento for more than 10 years, so we know what an upgrade is. So we don't want to rewrite everything if we release some new features. So there is a core, the same as in Magento, there is a core and there are additional components. There are hundreds, if not thousands already, but definitely there are 100 stores we know in production that have been already upgrading themselves to the latest versions of ScandiPWA with success. That's all for today. Thank you for these questions. We'll address them, especially this one about video. And there are some more questions and comments. Okay. Can you run ScandiPWA separate from backend of Magento 2.3x on a separate server? I know that we are setting up ScandiPWA local, and there is also a guide on how to do it on how to set up your ScandiPWA without setting up Magento. Well, as such, we see some projects that are actually running ScandiPWA on Shopify. So everything is possible. You need to figure out how to authorize access to GraphQL server, of course, and yeah, well, ScandiPWA is made primarily for Magento, so it is, how to say, Magento aware. We take advantage of the fact that we know that we work, how to say, exclusively with Magento, while, as I said, like, some people made it work for Shopify, but it took some time. So I think this operation will require some degree of work, but it's definitely doable. And you need to consult the guide that tells how to set it up locally, with Magento being like somewhere else. Let us know how did it go. Layout of pages, yes. Can you post tutorials on how to customize the current ScandiPWA theme? Layout of pages, adding new ReactJS components. Yes, that's this FAQ 3. Can you, so that's the question asked, and we'll address it. Next week we plan to release much more video tutorials. Say we have custom shipping integrations, payment integrations, and we would like to componentize these extensions into the front end of ScandiPWA. Yes, that's also the same question as a merchants already asked, like adding front-end ReactJS components for existing modules. So you already have them; they are working. But if it's payment integration, then, well, I think it took us 1 day to integrate Stripe, because what do you need to do? It's just a place where people put their card, right, and to send it securely to server, and then get some response and render this response. So all the magic happens on the backend, and shipping it's sometimes the same. You have super complex shipping rules. Behind the front end, it just renders. Well, choose Express $20 or Standard $12. So really not much to do, but of course tutorial will be helpful. So we are working on this. I would say March we have two major streams: is extension mechanism and extension samples, and documentation and video tutorials. So all of these questions will be covered. Can you provide a tutorial to create front-end ReactJS components using GraphQL with ScandiPWA? Yes. The same as previous questions. Yes. March is for tutorials and local setup. For custom extensions that has GraphQL support. Yeah, many extensions start to have GraphQL support, and that's great. So your work is much less. You just need to create, as exactly as you described, a front-end ReactJS component, and we will provide tutorials for that, having some extensions that have GraphQL support as an example. Thank you for being active. during the stream, and join next Wednesday for agencies, as there are some also related topics to you, and next Thursday for merchants. Thank you guys, and bye.